While squatting, Yonghan then handed a bowl of rice to Hajin and asked him to take it. Seeing that, Hajin was then confused why Yonghan suddenly handed him a bowl of rice. Realizing his confusion, Yonghan immediately said that this was for Yona. She was still not fully recovered, but Hajin was still confused. Why did he give it to him and not to others? Hearing that, Yonghan then pointed at Suho and others who were busy chatting with the residents in the past. They were too busy chatting there. Seeing that, with a bowl of rice in his hand, Hajin then walked up to Yona. While Yonga was fantasizing about Jong Hack, she was then surprised to see Hajin suddenly in front of her. With a funny smile, Hajin said that he brought her food. Seeing Yona who was lying there helplessly, Hajin humorously asked, "You're just pretending to be weak, right?" Yona then immediately refuted that. She said that she really couldn't lift even a spoon, but, right when Yona said that, she was then surprised when Hajin suddenly crammed a mouthful of rice into her mouth. Facing that, Yona then irritably asked him what he was doing. Hajin chuckled at her annoyance. "You yourself said that you couldn't lift a spoon, so I fed you." The reason why Yona pretended to be weak, Hajin guessed that she was planning to lure Shin Jong Hack to cane her. Hajin grinned mischievously at the thought. He felt that she was very predictable. Realizing that Hajin had seen through her pretense, Yona immediately felt embarrassed, but she covered it up and said that the taste of the rice was too bland. Was there no other food? Hearing that, Hajin replied that he thought there was still one packet of ramen left. He told her to finish the rice first and he would give it to her. Yona's ears immediately stood up hearing that. She looked forward to it. After a while, Yona finally finished the bowl of rice he brought. Seeing that she was still able to eat, Hajin then confusedly asked her why she didn't go out and chat with them. Hajin was also quite surprised to see that Yona immediately finished the rice. While lying back on her bed, Yona said that she didn't have the energy to do so. Hajin realized that she was just pretending and no longer forced her. But, just as Hajin was about to walk away from there, Yona suddenly called out to him, in a low voice. She thanked him. Yona felt a bit bad because it seemed like it was always her who received the help. Hearing that, Hajin neither refuted or gave her words of comfort. He asked when she would pay him back. Yona chuckled at that. She asked if he forgot who she was. She would pay him back immediately and with interest. Hearing that, Hajin felt that she was really the kind of person who never shortchanges on that kind of stuff. Yona smiled a little at that. She said that she thought they would be good colleague. Hearing her words made Hajin pensive for a moment. Judging by Yona's bright future, Hajin thought being close to her was probably the best way to secure his future, but, Yona suddenly said that she could also help him get close to Nayun even. Hearing that, Hajin immediately said that he didn't need to. His answer then surprised Yona. She immediately asked him, "Are you really into Rachel now?" Hajin's face immediately darkened hearing that. He said that he wasn't into either of them. He didn't have much time to do things like that. But his words weren't very convincing to Yona. With a mischievous smile, Yona told him to just be honest with her. With a dark face, Hajin angrily said that he wouldn't give her ramen. Yona then panicked hearing that. She then immediately stopped Hajin who was walking away and said that he couldn't do that. Hajin actually didn't really want to do that and just wanted to tease her. He then asked Yonghan to cook Yona ramen. Yonghan was then confused by his request. He thought Yona didn't like instant food. Yonghan then walked to Yona's tent and asked her directly, "Yona, Kim Hajin said that you want to eat ramen, is that true?" Hearing that, with a somewhat hesitant tone, Yona said, "If you make it, I will eat it." Meanwhile, seeing Hajin who was about to start his motorcycle, Soho then confusedly asked him, "Where are you going?" Hajin said that there was something he had to take, but Hajin did not explain it further to him. There are items in this era that he wrote in the story's background guide, but were never used in the story. If he brought them back, they would be very useful. When another day arrives, feeling that his hair was too long, Hajin then decided to trim his hair. He was assisted by the residents of the past in trimming his hair. After a while, after they finally finished trimming his hair, Hajin then amazedly looked at his new look in the mirror. While wiping the sweat from his forehead, the barber then asked his opinion regarding his work. It goes without saying, Hajin looked very satisfied with it. He couldn't even believe it was himself when he looked in the mirror. Nayun was also surprised by it. She wondered, what kind of magic is this? Soho also told him that it suited him, and when Hajin opened the system, he apparently got the touch of the master barber buff, which made him get an additional 0.5 charm temporarily, with a duration of 4 weeks. Reading that, Hajin then asked the name of the barber who had cut his hair earlier. Hearing that, while laughing happily, the barber asked if he liked it. He also told his name was Kim Woo-seok. Hearing that, Hajin then asked him again, do you have any children? The residents in the past were also amazed by Kim Woo-seok's work, his barber skills seemed to be famous among them. Hearing Hajin's question, Kim Woo-seok then replied, I have an 8-year-old child, his name is Kim Hajin. Hajin smiled happily hearing that. He thought about finding him no matter what. He felt that Kim Woo-seok's barber talent must have passed down to his child. Seeing Hajin's new look, people then said that he looked more handsome after the haircut. They also thanked him for defeating that bastard tyrant alone, but they also regretted, because they knew that they would be leaving today. They realized that this would be a parting moment for them. Hajin could only be silent hearing that. He also looked a little sad at this time, but he knew that he could not do anything. After they settled in 1972 for 2 weeks, they not only trained and sparred, they also expelled the criminals who relied on the power of Asura, bringing peace to this place. Whenever there was a mana explosion or monster invasion, they joined forces with the locals to deal with it. With that, it was only natural that they became close to them. Yona made use of those new friendships, to find anyone who might be the ancestors of famous figures in the present day. Jong Hack and Nayun played with the kids every day. Jong Hack created another clique of his own, and Suho helped the residents with repairing all sorts of facilities. Seeing Suho who always helped the locals, Hajin thought that Suho was that kind of person. However, feeling a little guilty, Hajin thought, that still doesn't change the fact that I killed a few of the people of the past. I'm not sure if the city hall's people actually know that or they're just feigning ignorance. They really welcomed me and treated me very nicely too. Hajin still doesn't seem to be used to the warmth they gave him. If he was honest, he was actually comfortable living here, with simple and honest people, with the brilliant sunshine, the gentle breeze blowing. They left some pleasant memories here, but now, he knew that it was time to leave. While bowing, Hajin then thanked them for everything. They smiled a little at that. They said that they were the ones who should be thanked. They also asked if they could meet them again. They realized that they were all destined for great things. They were also sure that someday they would hear about them on the news. Hajin could only feel depressed hearing that, but Hajin decided not to tell them the truth. Sometimes, ignorance is a good thing. After saying goodbye to the locals, Suho and others then said goodbye to Hajin. Hajin himself decided to enjoy his last moments here. Looking at the sun that was about to set, he felt that the scenery was very beautiful, but he was then surprised when he heard someone coming. It was Jong Hack. While throwing the crystal towards him, he told him to catch it. Seeing that, Hajin then quickly caught the crystal. Hearing that they were about to leave, the young men who idolized Jong Hack then sadly asked if this was really a farewell. Jong Hack seemed to be quite sad about it. He said that he would not forget them. While Jong Hack and his group were sad together, Jong Hack then from below called Hajin. He said he would throw the crystal to him and told him to catch it. While catching the crystal he threw, Hajin then thanked him. Not only the two of them, Yona and Suho then also came to him and handed over the crystal. When Hajin was about to take the crystal, he then realized something. He confusedly asked her, why are you wearing high heels? Hearing his question, Yona proudly replied, I got them as a gift. There are a lot of people who like me after all. After saying that, Yona then saw Nayun who walked towards them. And when Suho handed the crystals to Hajin, he was then confused when Yona suddenly pulled him away. When Nayun finally went upstairs, seeing the crystals in Hajin's hand, she then realized that she was the last one. She then asked, we're going back to reality now, right? Can I take a look around? Hajin was fine with it. Now, with the crystals in his hand, all he needed to do was to infuse the stigma's mana into the crystals. In the process of infusing, the crystals then merged, and solidified into a ball. And when Hajin smashed the crystal ball, the world in front of him suddenly seemed to be distorted, until it showed shards like glass. Seeing that, Nayun suddenly called him and said, have you ever imagined, is this what it means to forget? Hajin was then confused to hear her suddenly say such a confusing thing. Nayun continued, it's just that this makes me think, memories fade as time goes by little, no matter how hard I try, I can't remember my mother's voice. Even the beautiful memories start to fade, it feels like the memories start to crumble, like this world. Hearing that, Hajin worriedly told her not to think about it too much. The saying goes that a flower that never withers will have no fragrance. Memories are more precious because they can be forgotten. Memories must fade and wear down to some extent so that they can become someone's precious memories. Nayeon chuckled at his words. She felt that it was just nonsense, it didn't comfort her at all. Hajin was silent for a moment at her words, the fear of forgetting. He also understands that, after taking out something, Hajin then handed it to her and told her to take it. Nayeon was then confused by it and asked what this was. Hajin replied, a ticket that allows you to go see the flowers for a little while.